It is time.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing on consent agenda, approval March 14, 2022 minutes. Approval March 14, 2022 special meeting minutes. March accounts payable summary. Approval of payment to utility service company for the first quarter water tower maintenance in the total of $11,873.79. Approval of payment to utility service company for second quarter water tower maintenance in the total of $11,873.78. Approval of payment to BG Consultant March Engineering Service for portable water system in amount of $668. Approval of municipal judge report for March 2022. Approval of utility account refunds in the amount of $1,042.97. Is there a motion we approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded. Into the comments. Brian, you up there?
I'm here.
All right. We'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing, regular agenda is none, public comments, petition, memorial. Thanks to the Hiawatha High School Junior Class prom donation from the Hiawatha Fire Department. Patrick, you got a statement?
Wasn't prepared for one, but I can sure give you one.
Come up to the mic here and just give us a short synopsis of what you.
No, we just, we got a flyer from the high school and asking if we would be interested in donating any money to the after prom. And so as a fire department, we use some of our Fund 90 account to donate some money for them. Thought it went to a good cause and helped the community.
Sounds like all of them appreciate it. So thank you.
Prepared for that one, but.
Well, you gotta get prepared for anything you come here. So. Next thing is old business, considered amendment. Current lease agreement proposal for softball field with Hiawatha Baseball and Softball Club. I think Andy's coming in the building now. Here.
That's on from across the street.
Uh,
And I just heard the door open.
Well, I just seen him come in about 30 minutes ago, so he should be up here.
So a lot of steps.
Well, hold on just a second. He's the one who prepared the agreement.
Sounds like the older. It's on the elevator.
It's like a bunch of stalkers. It's an elevator. Quick, everybody duck.
Yeah, surprise.
Andy, you're on the mic.
We narrated your entire trip here. We knew you came across the street. We heard the door.
We're on the lease agreement with the baseball.
So there's an addendum I presented to the commission and apologize for the lateness of that. That would have the two amendments extending the deadline to raise funds through June 30 of 2023. Additionally, would have to do with utilities. My understanding, the city has agreed to provide labor and equipment for the installation of sewer and water, but that the organization is going to come up with all the equipment themselves. That accepting would leave, I guess, some further agreements if there are any other agreements, but those would be the two. There was some discussion over an option for the association to I guess, reserve some additional ground over there. In the email I sent today, options are one of those things where you actually need to get consideration for that option to be binding. In my opinion, giving an option at no consideration or for free would be no different than the commission making a promise tonight that they weren't going to sell it. So I didn't draft an option. I don't have any idea if the city wants to charge, or if the commission wants to charge them an annual fee or a total fee for an option to reserve that extra ground for 5 years, or merely promise them that if the city gets some kind of an offer or comes up with a different idea over the next 5 years for that different ground, to make sure that they get back in front of the commission before any decisions are made. So those are the two things that I guess, that I'd been instructed to come back with tonight's meeting.
Do you have anything down there? Yeah, you can come up.
We met as a board last week to discuss some of the options, and we're very flexible. Again, we just want some sort of commitment, whether it's a promise or a first right of refusal in a letter stating that we've got an opportunity to have the ground and give us 5 years in that to raise the money. So we want to work with the city the best way we can. So again, we're just trying to protect ourselves a little bit. We're supposed to meet with Garrett Nordstrom on the 20th to start working on grants and writing grants and so forth. So again, we're just trying to protect our interest as well. So I think we would be happy with some sort of first right of refusal to the ground if something would come up and give us a 5-year window to do that. Is that reasonable?
Like I said, if the commission wants to give them that right to address the commission before we decide to alienate the property or use it in some other fashion, I think that's a completely acceptable way to move forward without, it is a charitable organization, without charging them extra funds for an option or reservation of the property.
That sounds like a good idea to me.
I have no problem doing that just for the next 5 years. So start raising money.
Okay, we're gonna head out. So we have the commitment from the commission that we've got 5 years first right of refusal on the
Yeah,
ground.
you want it in writing, or you just want
A
to?
simple letter, please. Was that possible?
We'll have a letter drafted for you, and
Or if we made a motion and that was in the minutes, would that be good enough?
That would be good enough for me.
So how do I want to word that? Sorry,
then come back down and use exercise.
get more steps, because you did just,
Should have stayed here. If you wanted to make a motion to inform the baseball softball club of any intention the city has to alienate or use that property, to give them the right to come address the commission. So it'd just be a motion to notify them if a decision is made otherwise in the next 5 years.
Well,
That's-
I don't really see any options we're gonna have in the next 5 years to put anything there anyway, so.
I know we say that, we're just, again, trying to protect ourselves a little
Uh, Becky, you wanna make? a
so
motion?
Lynette, that's the motion I'm going to make that Andy just said, word for word.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and second. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried.
Very good. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thanks, Troy.
Next thing on the agenda, review and extension granted for minimum housing code violation. I guess Dave Wilson, I guess get the right Dave here. No, it's you.
There are 6 properties, of which there is some explanation that might be required for 3 of those properties. One of them is 412 Miami Street, and it has been purchased from the previous owner, and he has building permits, and it's in progress right now, getting the home rehabilitated. They're going to tear off some deteriorated parts of the structure, and he's got plenty of work to do, but I think he's capable of doing the work, and we'll get it done. So The building permit is good for 6 months, so and agreed to extend it if necessary to get that work completed. The other property is 804 Kansas Avenue. He's done, the owner, the current owner and previous owner has done quite a bit of work on it. He's not quite done. He did get building permits, and he does have the intention of completing. There's some foundation work that needs to be done and a porch that needs to be completed. Otherwise, it's going to stand there and look like it's occupied for a significant period of time. So I'm comfortable, and it's up to you though, what we do with that property. And that was 804 Kansas Avenue. The 111 Navajo Street, I've talked with the owner a number of times, and he's resolved as of last week that he has no intention of rebuilding there, principally due to the cost of building materials. And it does present a hazard. It is blighting to the community. All it is the foundation of a dwelling structure that has some potential to be rebuilt on, but you got to build a house to fit the foundation or make accommodations to make what you build fit the foundation. So it is up to the commission to decide what to do with it. I have visited with him about voluntarily demolishing the rest of the structure, and I think that's some potential based on he has a tough time making decisions, and I can't make them for him. So it's up to the commission or to do. But I do know in my own vision, it is dangerous. It needs to be barricaded and or the excavation filled in and the concrete removed.
Can you remind me, Dave, what we mean by the city of Hiawatha has some 18,000 on deposit for the property
Oh,
owner?
yeah, sure. There's a fire insurance proceeds fund, and 3 years ago, I believe it's 3 years ago, July of 2018, it's going on 4 years. It was destroyed and or compromised by fire substantially. The dwelling structure has been removed about a year ago. It was done so without building permits, but it accomplished some of the stuff that needed to be done. But the $18,000 was a percentage of his, it's an ordinance that's on the books that the insurance carrier is required to pay once they exceed 75% of the face value of the policy, in which they did because they spent the policy limits. They're required to place 15% on deposit with the city clerk. And that's supposed to be monitored within 30 days of when it was the fire occurrence, and to make a decision as to whether it be torn down or repaired. And that, in my opinion, wasn't done. And we still have the money. It's still on deposit with the city clerk. And it presents, in my own opinion, it presents a problem that it'd be kind of difficult to ask him for us to keep retaining that money until we say we need to do something with the structure, and either he voluntarily tears it down, the rest of it, or we use the money on deposit to finish the tear down, are some options. But the 18,000 some odd dollars is his money.
He's not interested in putting a house on that property.
He was, and did visit with a company that custom manufactures those homes to fit the foundations. And it's just extremely expensive to do that and to move it in. And he's opted not to do that. The other option would be, he has other options, and which could be to sell it. And by the way, he has mentioned that he will or was going to place it on the property with a real estate agent to sell it as is. But that doesn't eliminate the hazards and the danger that exist with the property. Although it's been that way for 3 years, but the longer, in my opinion, the longer you go without something happening, the closer you're coming to having it happen. So it's an accident waiting to happen.
Well, last time he was here, I thought maybe he was gonna do something, but I guess
He worked at it and did his own analysis of the cost to rebuild and that kind of thing. But made a specific effort to contact me last week and decided to not pursue that reconstruction any further. He may be looking at some other properties or things that are available for sale. But I think it's his plan to sell the property. I think there are some people nearby that are interested in it, but that's up to him and the potential purchasers. The other,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
the other properties are, I might explain that 606 Kansas Avenue has gone through, it's on its third owner since this all started. The conditions of the home have not changed any. It's, I think you saw the updated pictures. It is, in my opinion, is substantial to repair for any of the parties. And that seems to be the holding or the snag in the project, is that the original owner didn't want to spend any money to fix it up. The subsequent owner from Kansas City purchased it for the purpose of flipping it, buy it today and sell it tomorrow for a profit. And now the third owner has indicated that they're interested, and they have transferred it. It's shown as transferred to the new owner recently in the last couple of weeks. And I visited with one of the owners, and they're interested in repairing the structure, which is going to require building permits and a scope of work, and a pretty stringent scope of work, because there's many things that need to be done there. And also discuss the option of perhaps making it a vacant lot if they were the owners, to come to the commission to request the demolition of the structure and get their approval. But she thought that might be an option, but the structure is blighting to the community, and appears to be in that status until somebody's willing to make repairs. It's not suitable for habitation, and it is blighting to the neighborhood. The other property, 308 South 10th Street, is it is, in my opinion, is deteriorated even more than when we first started. There's not been any repairs, it's obvious, other than an attempt to demolish the garage structure, and it's just scattered all over the block and alley and neighborhood and that kind of thing. So it doesn't, they did get building permits, but did absolutely zero work, asked me to, or made no efforts to make any inspections of the progress that they were making on the home. The 507 property is much the same. they got building permits. And by the way, the permits for that previous location, 308 and the 507 have expired. So, and there's been no effort to renew those as well. The 507 Miami Street location is, they changed, they didn't even follow the scope of work that they had submitted in the building permit application and made no effort to renew it. It is blighting to the neighborhood yet, and it appears to be marginally suitable for habitation.
There's somebody living in that house, right?
There's someone,
That's a relative.
well, there are automobiles parked there. And it appears that one of the things that appears to me to be obvious is that the property is maintained in the name of the previous owner, probably because it may have been sold on a contract for sale. And so I don't know the status. That owner's not here. He's been here in the past. But it seems that he still has some interest in the property. At one point, he was interested in the application for the demolition of the property, but I can't speak for him. But it is, the property has been neglected for an extensive period of time.
Dave, can you hear me? all right?
Well, they're all in here.
There's a voice.
Brian.
Sorry. Is there anybody living in the house on 10th Street?
On,
On 10th Street,
on-
anybody living?
It doesn't appear that there's anyone living there at all. The 308 South 10th,
Yeah.
it looks unoccupied. I've not heard anything. They did, like I said, did have building permits, but there's been no contact whatsoever, and no work has been done.
Well, these houses need to be done something with. I mean, if we're going to fix them, I'd be game for that, but if we're not, I think it's time to put them on demolition list. Unless, I'd say probably the most critical first. And so you got an opinion on
In my opinion, the most hazardous property and blighting to the community is the 308 South 10th Street location. The next would be the Navajo Street, followed by 507 Miami and 606 Kansas Avenue.
And then you feel comfortable that the 804 Kansas and 412 Miami, they still have permits and they're working towards it. So, correct? I mean,
Yes. The 804 Kansas Avenue is so close to being done.
Yeah.
And the owner's been cooperative in updating me on the status. He's got some type of church connection that he's gotten help from the church to get that work done. And they've done nice work. Exteriorly, it looks nice. I can't speak for the interior, but it's not blighting to the community if he gets the remainder of the exterior finished.
so how long of an extension would you want to see those bottom two houses?
Well, the bottom two, Mr. Ray, Bob Ray is the owner of the 412 Miami Street location, and he's followed through with the other projects that he's worked on and has done well with the building permit applications. And he's working there.
you've been working there for quite.
Working there
Several
his
weeks.
vehicles are parked there anyway.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, if we feel comfortable, I would say Bob's house at least I'd even be safe to just say, take it off the list. And if he's working with you, and then we can just be done with that one, because I do think that that one is moving along quick. The one on 10th Street, I agree, that one's probably beyond repair. And then maybe just give the other ones like a 3-month extension. Is kind of what I'm thinking off the top of my head here. That would put them out to July, and you're going to have hot weather. And if nothing's done by July, then move forward. And that would also give the Navajo Street 90 days to be on the market and possibly be able to sell.
Haven't we already given these extensions? One, even 2 extensions, haven't we? Or has it just been one?
I think just one from
And we,
September through
We had it December 13th when the commission.
December 13th. Yeah.
and then we gave it to April
To
just
April.
because of, so
just to get through the
in my
winter.
opinion, I remember saying to some of them, I don't remember who, that this was going to be it, that we made the extension. And so I'd be more along the lines of the bottom 2 that we leave alone. And the top 4, Miami, Kansas, Navajo, and South 10th, be put on the demolition list. But that's just my opinion. I don't know what the rest of you think.
Well, I think if Dave thinks it's critical, the top 4, I think they ought to be addressed. And, so where you at, Dave?
Well, these folks have all been in here before and we've driven an extension and there's been no progress on the 4 of them. So I'm willing to move on with demolition myself.
4 of them.
And the bottom 2 have active building permits and there's signs of activity and work. So I'm good with leaving those on there for,
Next go around.
yeah.
We don't do anything. Well, I think Bob Ray's working, because he's been over.
Well,
there
he's
for
got a lot of
while.
work there, but yeah, as long as he shows progress, I'm happy with it.
How about you, Evan?
Yeah, I agree with Dave, top 4.
Okay.
I mean, they've had numerous extensions and everything, and I think it's time to address them. And
Okay.
the other 2, they're working on them, and so they'll get completed.
Well,
So then I'll make a motion.
hold
Were
on
you
one
saying something, Brian?
Yeah, I'd just like to say Navajo's got a ton of potential. And to push that basement in, I think, I really would like to at least see 3 months on that and give them a chance to sell that. I mean, I know people personally that would buy that and put a,
Can you get that volume up a little?
Just said that Navajo has a potential after the seal, 3 months.
But
Go ahead.
I think he's had enough time. It's been since what, 2018, since it even burned down. And we can separate these out if you'd like to, I will make a motion for the 3 of them, leave Navajo out, make that a separate motion so we can vote separate on that if that's what you want to do.
yeah, that's fine.
Right.
So I will make a motion to 507 Miami, 606 Kansas, and 308 South 10th Street to be put on the demolition list. Is that good enough, Andy?
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other comments? I think you ought to go with all 4, but whatever.
I'll let him vote separate.
Uh,
I said I'll make another one to
All
destroy.
right. Motion been made and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All
It-
opposed?
Motion carried.
Now I'd like to make a motion to put 111 Navajo Street also on the demolition list.
The one thing I'm gonna say about the 111, if they do list it and it's on the demolition list, it's gonna deter buyers away, and there's no doubt about that. A lot of people are not gonna wanna mess with it, and so, again, I think 3 months to let this guy list it and see if there's anybody out there that wants it is more than reasonable. We're not in a rush to tear them down, and like I said, if it's on the demolition list,
it's gonna really affect him being able to sell it.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made, and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried.
Andy, do I need to make a motion to, with the bottom two, to take them off the list or? Okay, so do we even remove Kansas Avenue even off the list? Or not an extension, just take them off the demo? So I'll make a motion to remove 804 Kansas Avenue and 412 Miami Street off of the, I don't know what you call it, properties.
Article
Condemned
5,
properties.
unfit for
Housing code.
Off minimum housing code.
minimum housing code.
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay. All right, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded to remove the two properties from the minimum housing code. Is there any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried.
Mayor, before you move on to new business, Lynette was kind enough to remind me, we never did approve the amendment to the lease for the baseball club. So if we could take care of that with a motion before we move on to new business.
With the other one. Is there a motion we approve the agreement on the land lease? Is that the one you're talking about, Andy?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the land lease for the Hiawatha Baseball and Softball Club as presented by the city attorney.
Documents.
And for the mayor to sign the documents.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Is that all you had, Andy?
That's, I just want to take care of that before we move on to new business.
Okay. All right. Next thing on the agenda is consider agreement with intern administrator Larry Payne. I guess everybody knows that Larry's our acting city administrator as an interim right at this time, and we've had a couple meetings today, and I think he'll be a good asset for us. I think everybody will get along just fine with him, so. So I guess I'd entertain a motion to sign the agreement with Larry as an intern.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Welcome aboard, Larry.
Thank you, sir.
Good thing we approved it. Leave.
It's either that or I'm going home tomorrow.
That's true.
Anyway,
Next thing on the agenda, percent retirement award to Corey Lay for Hiawatha Fire Department. Corey, you want to come up, and the chief? And I'm gonna let the chief hand that out. You stand in the middle, I'll stand on the side. I'm a little shorter anyway. Corey, I want to appreciate all the time that you've given to the city of Hiawatha. Wish you the best in your time.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thanks, Corey.
How many years, Corey?
20.
20 years. I bet you could probably come up with some good stories.
Eh,
Maybe not, we should hear them all, but.
Okay, Andy.
Next on the agenda, the ordinance 2107. Hopefully you have a copy of that in front of you. At the last meeting, I think there was a promise made a while back to annex in 3 parcels that are on East Iowa Street. Those petitions have been filed with the city. Last meeting, the city accepted those petitions. So today is an ordinance which will actually bring those 3 parcels of land into the city limits. If the commission would like to approve those, you'll see on your agenda, there's a second action taken with that. We'd like to go ahead and have the commission classify 707 East Iowa Street and 801 East Iowa Street as R1 for zoning purposes, and the 11.33 acre tract as agricultural zone .A1. So there's 2 separate motions.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2107 annexing 707 East Iowa, 801 East Iowa, and 11.33 acres of 605 East Iowa into the city limits.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Annexation into the 707, 801, 11.33 acres and 605 East Iowa, the city limits. Is there any other comments? No other comments, will vote.
Commissioner Mendorf,
Aye.
Commissioner Shamber,
Aye.
Commissioner Wiltie,
Aye.
Commissioner Shepherd,
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye, motion carried. Second motion you want, Andy?
Is to classify them for zoning purposes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to classify zoning for 707 East Iowa and 801 East Iowa as R1 and the 11.33 acres of 605 East Iowa as A1.
Second,
Second.
motion been made and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, will vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing on the agenda is consider approval of Atlas Electric pay request number 1 for the airport AV 2022-10 and authorize the mayor to sign. It's work that we've got completed on the electrical side out to the airport.
I'll make a motion to approve pay request number 1 to Atlas Electric for the airport project AV 2022-10 and authorize the mayor to sign.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing on the agenda is consider award bid for the pump station generator, the Layton lift station and HEMI electric in the amount of $4,933. Dave?
Yeah, on March 30th, we opened the bids for the replacement generator out to Layton's lift station. It's been a number of years since we've had one out there, and the Department of Health is requiring us to get that fixed as soon as possible. We bid it 2 different ways. We bid new and used just because of cost comparison to see what the difference was. The new one that came in at $47,933 was $10,000 higher than the used one. But the used one that we're talking with us on, in comparison to the generator that we have out to the north headworks, which is 17 years old, has fewer hours than the one they wanted to sell us. So that's why my recommendation is to get the newer unit for $47,933. The budgeted amount for this was $73,000. So we're well within our budgeted amount. This will come from ARPA funds.
Does that include the transfer switch that you said you had problems with?
That is
out
with the
there?
transfers. Yes, a new transfer
does.
switch, the electrical components and the connection. The only thing that kind of leaves it up in the air, because we didn't do a specific generator, we kind of left that open, so we won't know exactly how many feet of wire we're going to need. But that'll be well within my spending authority as well as our administrator. Excuse me.
Okay, sounds good to me. Just good. Motion.
I'll make a motion to award bid for a generator at Layton's lift station to HEMI Electric in the amount of $4,933.
47,000.
That's not right.
That's what I meant, 47. Okay.
Well, you
I'll
got,
pay the extra
you got the
14.
wrong number on the
Yeah.
sheet. Yeah, we'll forgive you this
That's
time.
not a number.
I was gonna say, both of us said the same thing, what we read, so.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Next thing, consider approval payment to Brown County for Kansas Open Meeting Act violation, which all the expenses will be covered by the city commissioners, 3 of them. And so that'll be, not sure the numbers are in.
Then, then we don't need to discuss it if that's the case. So,
Okay.
all right.
I had a question. We're supposed to get coma training. How are we going to accomplish that, or how are we going to?
So we're going to set up a separate line item in the general fund if there is a cost to that. I'm in the process of working with the county attorney to find an acceptable program.
Okay.
So basically, this is the first step. There'll be more. There will also be a resolution we'll need to pass, and I'll bring that back. I haven't brought it back, so you guys won't be in trouble for it, hopefully, but I've been in contact with the county attorney, so there will be more to follow on that one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next thing, a review marketing plan for city administrator search for the League of Kansas Municipalities. I guess we just got that early. Everybody reviewed it all. I think we'll give you guys time to review it. And
Then we
bring it
got the timeline, then we just got this stuff late this afternoon.
back. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, if I could
Go ahead.
interject here, I would just suggest that, in the process of reviewing that, we just start moving on that process to keep the thing moving quickly. Because if you don't do it quickly, it means I stay here longer. And I'm not sure by the
Are
end
you
of
mad already?
it might be, it might be like bad fish or bad company or whatever. But, certainly it does make sense to, start as quickly as you can. And if you need to, approve this at the next council meeting, we can go ahead and do that. But I think that you start executing the work program in this thing, as quickly as you can, like 6 o'clock tonight.
Well, actually, we can go ahead and what do you want? Do you want a motion?
Whatever you would want to do, but if you want a motion to start it, go ahead and do that.
Well, I think we need to get the process in force and going.
Yeah.
And then they can review all the literature that they got and give us a chance to decide it for the next meeting, but we can go ahead and start the process.
We need to have a work session after we have time to read this, to
Yeah.
come to consensus on what we want to do. Like there's choices on what we want to do, right?
Okay. But you want to go ahead and start the process. And then,
Oh, yeah. Keep moving on it.
well, you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to, not sure what I'm gonna say here, to proceed with the LEAPS process timetable that was presented by the League of Municipalities. Is that adequate?
For a second?
I'll
Second,
second it.
Good.
you can have it.
Okay, I'll second it.
Motion been made and second. Any other comments? Got any comments, Brian?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
We got a motion and a second. No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Thank you, Larry. Keep me updated here.
Keep the ball moving down.
There you go. Next thing on the agenda, executive session for non-elected personnel matters. I think we'll take 20 minutes. And come back in.
So I will make a motion that the city commission recess into executive session in the conference room for a period of 20 minutes to discuss matters regarding an issue of potential city personnel. The justification for closing the meeting is to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel. The open meeting will resume at 6:41 in the commission chambers and to include the city commission, attorney, and interim administrator.
Your second.
Second.
Motion been made and second. We'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried.
Don't do that. The city, I'd like to announce that the city commission is called back into open meeting. The commission took no binding issue during executive session.
Second.
It's been made and seconded. The comments will vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Go back in.
I'd like to make a motion that the city commission recess in executive session in the conference room for a period of 10 minutes to discuss matters regarding an issue of potential city personnel. The justification for closing the meeting is to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel. The open meeting will resume at, you're so fast, 6:53 PM in the commission chambers, and to include city commission attorney and interim administrator.
Second.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded. Roll call.
All
Vote.
in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried.
I'd like to announce that the city commission is called back into open meeting. The commission took no binding action during executive session.
There a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded, come back in, no action taken. No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried.
We lost our attorney and our.
Where is he? Gone. Well. I guess we're still talking. Well, Brad, you got anything?
I would like to give everybody a quick update of the progress on the lagoons out of the water plant. Currently, our engineers in talks with KDHE, and what KDHE is wanting from the city of Hiawatha, they're wanting us to submit plans and for those plans to be reviewed and to be approved. And they want to they want to approve a permit for the city of Hiawatha for the evaporation equipment. The first step in this process is we have a draft request for proposal from our engineer. We need to review that, and we need it. The way that he has the language set up in that, it could be pretty restrictive, and that could drive the cost up. And so we need to review that request for proposal and kind of make it how we want that, kind of go through with what we think would be best, and then we can then I'll come back and ask to go out for a request for proposal after we get that all back. But that's kind of what is going on with that right now. It seems to be a slower process than what I would like, to be honest with you, but this is the way that I have to, this is what I have to work within. So the levels haven't gone up any more than where they were, but I'm still concerned. I'd like to give recognition to Chad Gobin for getting our town clock fixed again. It's ringing again. It was as simple. It was just a little shear pin is all it was. So we got that fixed. And if you guys notice water running down the streets, is we're in our hydrant flushing for the year. We should be able to get that done within 2 weeks. So it won't last very long. And that's really all I have for now.
When did you expect anything from KDG on this?
I'm hoping to get, what I want to do is I would like to I'd like to get everybody together to have a meeting up here and That way we can get people on site to actually look at the problem instead of just, I think that might be better. And so I'm going to get with our engineers and try to get something set up there, and I'll keep everybody informed of that process as well.
I think you guys got a staff meeting tomorrow, correct?
We do, yes.
Yeah, you gotta get, you guys get him updated on where all you guys standing on your different programs. So,
Okay,
good.
All right.
Thank you, Brad.
thank you.
Dave? Grim, I guess we better get the right Dave.
Yeah.
Got three.
Okay, a quick update. I had received some information from our engineers on the wastewater treatment plant project. Looks like that they're going to be coming in and they're going to be doing a little bit of survey out to the North Headworks. That's the place that we're going to start, where we're going to build our lagoon to reduce our I&I going into the wastewater treatment facility. What they're going to do first, they're going to come in, they're going to locate some manholes, do some, I guess that basically we're going to do some measurement to make sure that qualifies for the size that we're looking for. They're going to also do some core holes. What the core holes will do, that will determine whether the ground in that area is solid enough to hold that much weight. Because, you know, you start sticking 1,000,000 gallons of water in an area, it gets pretty heavy pretty quick. So we'll be seeing that coming up. She thought by June 1st, this should all be completed. So I'll be working with our new acting administrator, getting him caught up to speed on where we're at. And I'll be helping, depending on him, to help me with the financial parts of it too. So.
Well, I think he'll work with you. He's impressed me already, so that's good policy.
Yeah, I think we're going to be fine. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dave. Mickey?
Don't have anything of grand significance. We did get a AAA Gold Award from KDOT for our involvement with STEP program. Probably the biggest thing is you need to know that the employees we have down there are what is making us work. They're doing all the work. They're willing to do anything. They're helping me, help them, and help the community. That's the biggest thing. The people we got working down there are awesome. So nothing big besides that right now. Thank you.
And Mickey, thank you for reaching out to the administrators at the school to see what else that you and your officers can do.
We have all kinds of things like that. I hit up the schools. I told Officer Lowe to get with the schools, and he has scheduled a field trip with some middle school students to come down to the police department to look at the forensic stuff and the other parts of the police department. Lions Club's doing a bicycle safety event at the elementary school. He's doing that. I had another officer volunteer to go help him do that. Told him to reach out to the sheriff's office. He's calling them, see if they want to help partake in that at the elementary school. There's a lot of things going on, but the biggest thing for me is we're there, we're taking the calls. These guys are helping us do what we need to do.
I said, I appreciate Brandon does a good job in the schools, but I like that you're wanting to get more of the officers in as well. I mean, that's just.
They have so much to offer. That's the thing. I have gained a better respect for everybody because they offer me anything and everything. They're willing to help me. They're willing to make things work. They're bending over backwards to make us work. So, and they're all doing it. It's not just Brandon. It's not just Lorenzo and Chance playing basketball with the kids. Every officer is like, I'll do that. What can I do? Can I help? So they're doing everything down there. Okay.
Thank you, Mickey.
Thanks, Mickey.
I guess Stacy must have got mad. She went home.
She asked if I would speak up for her. Said she had a 6:30 meeting, so she's not just going home to play with her new puppy. She said she has a quick update. 2 weeks into soccer and everything's going great. If you call it cold and windy, but still they're out there. So we are currently selling discounted pool passes through April, season passes and water aerobics. Also taking registrations for summer swim lessons. She said the T-ball league and Pee Wee T-ball camp registrations are now open as well. She will be advertising for co-ed softball as well as co-ed sand volleyball soon. Said that she has a great seasonal crew lined up for the summer with several returners and lifeguards, concession workers, and parks crew. So I would say it's about to get real busy for her. So
Sounds good. You went a good job on that, Becky, so we'll have to write that down.
Yeah.
Dave Wilson. Patrick, I guess I'm gonna have to do your job for you.
I came back for that.
All right.
That, I want to apologize. There was something that we all needed to tend to, so you'll find out soon enough. Our last meeting, we went ahead and did our elections for 2022 into 2023, and for the fire chief for the 2-year term. And I don't know if you know what? Oh, I'll just pass that then. The last month I brought to you that our SCBA gear was outdated. May have been sold of line. Upon further research, our gear is not outdated. They are still selling it. The manufacturer that we go through is just trying to make a dollar. So in the meantime, we've actually found a different company to repair our gear and actually buy the current gear that we have at an extremely discounted rate from the new stuff. The gear that we have now, we can buy it from them anywhere between $1,500 and $1,800 a piece instead of $5,000. So we're gonna try and get some numbers together and then bring that back up to you guys with how many we need to replace that with.
Okay. Well, good.
I was also approached about burning the brush between the Historical Society and what's the building, Fisher Center. Since it is in the city limits, I would need your permission to do that.
Is that CRP ground or something?
I think it's a ditch back there they want burn off.
Or just in the ditch?
Yep.
Okay. Well, as long as you got fire department there, I think it's a good idea to kind of clean it up. It won't be
Okay.
a mess somewhere. And does anybody else got a problem with it?
Need a motion on that.
I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we give permission to the fire department to burn the ditch in between the Fisher Center and the Ag Museum.
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
Motion been made and second. No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
That's all I have. Do you have anything for me?
You're doing a good job, but I don't get any complaints. So.
That's a bonus.
Okay, Andy. Yeah, that's good. Larry?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I want to start out with saying thank you for giving me the opportunity to have a little fun this spring. It's gives me a chance to get out of the house and see some different part of the world and different part of Kansas, which is kind of fun in its own way. I put 3 things at your table. Actually, Lynette put them there, but I just gave them to her to bring up. But so go from there. Brian, I apologize. The first thing on my list is a calendar. I'll send this to you by email or let you come get it when you get back in town. It's basically showing the days that I'll be working in Hiawatha. I'm going to be doing 4 days a week and alternating, starting on Monday, starting on Thursday or Tuesday to accomplish the 4 days and be here in time for starting Tuesday gives me time to be here to help Lynette with council packet presentation. Starting on Monday lets me be here like I am tonight. So I'll be here today, tomorrow, and then my wife volunteered me to go visit my daughter for Easter in Colorado Springs. So The rest of the week I'll be there. And next week I'll be coming in on Tuesday to start that process again. So it goes basically every other week from there. The second document is kind of a 2-page thing. One of the things that I found valuable as I have assumed new jobs as city manager, city administrator in different communities is having some idea about what I'm getting into when I walk through the door for the first time. And as I was retiring in Hillsborough, I prepared what my mayor at that point called a magnum opus. I started out with a laundry list like this thing that I'm giving you here, and it will be a process that I'll be going through the period of time that I'm here, looking at different things so that I have something to share with your new city administrator when he or she walks through the door. And I've already added another item to the list based on tonight's meeting. I've added annexations because that was not on my list. But as you go through this thing, you can see I'm trying to cover a lot of bases in trying to figure out who and what and how does Hiawatha work so that when your new city administrator comes on board, he or she's got a clue about what's going on. So the learning curve kind of flattens out a little bit. Then that's the whole purpose. The other document I have is this large ledger sheet. And I started doing this on my first city administrator job back in the 1990s, trying to figure out from a big picture point of view, what do the city's finance look like? And from some documents that were in the agenda packet, I was able to put most of this information together. The columns over here on the left-hand side is information I pulled from the draft copy of the audit report that Mike sent to me. And so today we asked the accounting firm to help me fill in what is under current cash balance. And what that begins to show is, the first column of numbers is the beginning balance from January 1st. Second column is a number that I've used in the past about what I think fund balance numbers should be to help deal with areas of surprise expenditures and that sort of stuff, that you've got some flexibility to work from that. And so those numbers are basically 90 days worth of cash based on the budget expenditure that you approved last year. The second group of numbers is revenue. It's the revenue budget, revenue year to date, percentage of that, and what's left out of the revenue to collect based on your particular budget. Same thing's true with that next column on expenditures. And now I get to show something that stands out. If you'll go down to, I think it's MVE suspension. If you go across, we will have spent 197% of the budget that you anticipated when you put a budget together. So the first thing I look at that is 197%. Wow, that's something. So before I get my self in a real twit, I'll go back and look at, cash balance, 18,000, whatever. Near the end of the calendar year, you will need to do a budget amendment to fix that. It's not a big deal. I don't know what the expenses are at this point, why that's that way. Only after one day, there's only so much can come through the noggin. But, that sort of thing says there's something to be concerned about. Look. And then, once I look, I'm not concerned anymore. So Each month, I will put together a report like this based on numbers that come from Lynette. And we'll put this together for you and come to the council meeting and say, all right, here are the things that are going on. We will look at where cash balance is and compared to the rest of the things and say, you know, are there things that we need to identify? Granted, this is a 30,000 foot look. It doesn't give us a lot of information, but the first thing it says, it's an early warning system. So if you look at it from that perspective, then if something really funny looks here, then we can start going back into the accounting system and ask the question, why? And so I found this to be helpful in each and every manager, administrator job that I've done. It reduces some of the stress of looking at some of the financial reports that we would naturally produce and say, all right, what is all this stuff? So this is that big picture, and it just is basically there to give you that high level view of what's going on. That should be all I need to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Well, the only thing I'm got to say is, Larry, I'm glad we got you on board, and we wish you the best with the commission, and I think they're all pretty well supportive of you, and so I don't think you got anything to be concerned about that. So just do the best job you can. It looks like you're already working numbers. That's a bonus, and so we're glad to have you, and we hope you get a place rented here in town. You get one rented today?
I did.
Okay, good deal. Well,
It's
we'll
a
have
nice
you
place.
across the street then.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, you can fall over here then, right out the top deck there.
Call out of bed and go to work, right?
Well, congratulations on your getting your place. So, Becky,
I have nothing.
Dave,
We received a email from Kim Broberg. She's the lady from the Kansas Forest Service that helped us with the tree survey a couple of years ago. And she was wanting to drop by the materials, the yearly materials for the Tree City USA that we get. And so I'm gonna try to meet up with her on the 19th is when she thinks she'll swing through. She's gonna drop the materials off. And I let Richard Jarvis, made him aware of it, and he may come down, chat with her a little bit too. She's gonna go through Atchison and then Troy and then come on up here and give us our materials, I guess, or whatever. And with that said, Richard and I were talking, we haven't had a tree board meeting for some time, for at least a month, so we were thinking about having a tree board meeting on the 20th. And Larry, I think you'll be in town then. I don't know if you want to attend to get up to speed with what we do. And we typically have it in the conference room back here. So
Okay.
We haven't set a time and we haven't contacted the other members to see if they're all available, but that's our tentative plan to have that. We usually have it around 5:30 or 6 on whenever we have a meeting. So I believe that's all I have.
Brian,
I don't have anything today. Look forward to working with you, Larry. Thanks for coming.
Evans,
I don't have anything this evening.
your motion with adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Made second adjourn. Comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried.
Jasper, what do you know? wanted me to ask you that, would you like her to send out a text to department heads that you're having a staff meeting?